It's not a surprising verdict given months of testimony in which Duch was described as someone who was entirely guilty for having presided over a facility where thousands of people were killed, and he was often characterized as someone who presided over the prison with ruthless efficiency and with ruthless energy, and someone who at times even took pride in managing such a torturous facility.
What about the verdict of 35 years behind bars? Does that correspond to what the families of the victims were asking for?
Certainly not. Every victim wanted the maximum penalty, which is life in prison. It's important to note that the death penalty is not an option in Cambodia, so the maximum sentence he could have got would have been life sentence. Prosecutors had asked for 40 years. They said the fact that he offered information to the court about the inner workings of his prison and the fact that he showed some limited responsibility for his crimes made it such that he deserved a reduced sentence. Another thing to note is that he was held illegally in pre-trial detention before this trial began, and so that certainly was a mitigating circumstance that would have factored into his sentence.
Now, internationally, this tribunal, the Khmer Rouge tribunal, is seen as very significant indeed. But what about in Cambodia itself? Are Cambodians watching the outcome of this trial and this court case?
The case was broadcast, the verdict result was broadcast on every television channel in Cambodia. So millions of Cambodians were watching it, and hundreds of Cambodians packed the courtroom to watch the verdict result firsthand. So there certainly was a great deal of interest, a very emotional interest in this verdict result, although in the past the tribunal has had problems with public awareness.
What do we know about Duch's role and what he did during the Khmer Rouge? Now, he has been saying that he only followed orders and that was part of his defense. But how active a role did he actually have in the regime during the 1970s?
He was not a senior leader. The four people who are awaiting trial are widely considered to be senior leaders, and that they created the policy of the Khmer Rouge. They are the architects of its policy. He was the head of a prison. There were actually hundreds of prisons under the Khmer Rouge time, but his was the most important because it was where very important prisoners were held, people who were often Khmer Rouge cadres themselves who were suspected of disloyalty. So his role in presiding over that facility was very important, and obviously the fact that thousands of people, as many as 17,000 by some accounts, were brutally tortured and killed there is significant. But one very noteworthy comment made by the judge is that they didn't believe that Duch himself personally was involved in torturing prisoners.
All right, Brendan Brady, thanks very much for bringing us that instant analysis of this verdict that we've been getting from Phnom Penh this morning. Once again, Comrade Duch, as is known, a senior member of the Khmer Rouge back in the 1970s, has been found guilty for murder and torture, amongst other crimes, and he has been sentenced to 35 years behind bars.